Police Department, Shopping Society, Menorah Lighting. At this time, it's now my pleasure to introduce the President of the NYPD Shopping Society, Captain Gary Marcus.
Good evening. I would like to start by thanking Commissioner Tucker, Commissioner Ganley, Commissioner Meisenholder, Rabbi Cass, Lieutenant Steve Jerome, Paul Daniel, members of the ceremonial unit. Thank you all for making this evening possible. Hanukkah is a story of resilience. It is often called the Festival of Lights. Following the successful revolt led by Judah Maccabee, the Jewish people went on to rededicate the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. As part of that rededication, they took a small jug of oil, enough to last only a single day, and lit the large menorah. To their surprise, that small amount of oil burned for 8 days, until more could arrive. Therein lies the miracle of Hanukkah. When logic would dictate there should be darkness, there was light. 1 year ago, I stood in this very lobby, joined by Rabbi Cass and the police commissioner. There were no crowds gathered here, and there was no delicious food waiting for us when we finished. But there is this year, so I'm going to wrap this up. Instead, we stood together and lit the menorah in front of a camera, which broadcast the event around the globe. 1 year ago, we were in the throes of a pandemic, the likes of which we had never seen, and our city was in a dark place. Logic would dictate that this menorah should have been dark too, but there was light. We continued with the menorah lighting as we have done for the last 2,000 years. The menorah is a symbol of perseverance, the perseverance of the Jewish community, and by proxy, this city and its residents. Commissioner Tucker and all the members of the executive team, thank you for embodying the message of light and perseverance as we continue to celebrate the everlasting light and hope that is represented by the Hanukkah menorah. It is now my honor to introduce the Chief Chaplain of the NYPD, Rabbi Dr. Alvin Cass.
I'll tell you another difference between this year and last year. These bars weren't there last year. He has climbed to the top of the civil service level, and we're very proud. Did you ever have a cell phone that worked for 8 days without a battery? If you have, that's what Hanukkah is all about. Actually, of course, it's a lot deeper than that. It's the first struggle for religious freedom, the first successful revolt in behalf of religious freedom in human history. And as such, it's important not only for Jews, but for people of all faiths. St. Augustine said, "Let humanity learn from the Maccabees how to die for truth." The Eastern Orthodox Church has set aside August 1st as an annual day to honor the sainted Maccabees. There's a story told about a group of tourists who went to the land of Israel and looked for the graves of the Maccabees in the city of Modin, which is where they came from. And despite their efforts, they couldn't find it. They saw a nearby contingent of soldiers, and they asked one of the soldiers, "Can you tell me where the grave of the Maccabees is?" And the soldier looked quizzically, I don't know. And they asked another soldier, and he also said, "I don't know." And the tourist said to the soldiers, "How can you not know these facts when you're so close to history?" And the soldier retorted, "Why are you so concerned about the dead Maccabees? We are the living Maccabees." And indeed, Sahal, the men and women who defend the state of Israel, they are living Maccabees. And this room honors another group of living Maccabees, and that is the men and women of the New York City Police Department who put their lives on the line each and every day to protect not only religious freedom, but to protect everybody's freedom. You know that if Judah Maccabee were a member of the NYPD, his name would be etched on the walls of this police memorial lobby. This lobby is an ecumenical cathedral which tells the story of the NYPD, the greatest law enforcement agency in the world. There are many, many tales involved in that saga of this department, but I'd like to tell you just one. It's about a poor boy who came from the Bedford-Stuyvesant area of Brooklyn. He really had no particular ambition to become a police officer, but a friend of his was taking the test. And so the friend asked him to go along, and he went, and he passed the test. And when the time came for him to be called, the job market was meager, and he accepted it. And he went on to a career of 22 years in which he rose astronomically through the ranks. After 22 years, Mayor Ed Koch tapped him for a very important executive position in his administration. Then Mayor Michael Bloomberg did the same. And soon thereafter, Presidents Clinton and President Obama did it on the federal level. This man has become an expert in police and community, youth and drugs. He's a remarkable human being. What he has attained in the course of his life would be an astounding status for any human being. But that a poor kid from Bedford-Stuyvesant was able to accomplish this is really remarkable. And during the last 8 years, he has held the second most powerful and prestigious position in the NYPD. Just for me to know such a person would be a great honor. But the fact that I can say that Commissioner Benjamin Tucker is a very dear personal friend is really one of the greatest privileges and honors that has come to me in the course of my life. It's a real joy and a great privilege and honor to present to you the first Deputy Commissioner of the New York City Police Department, the Honorable Benjamin Tucker.
You know, yeah, this is just like a cathedral, as Rabbi pointed out. I mean, you are all the parishioners here, witnessing the epiphany, I guess, in Rabbi's comments. I mean, you never want to follow him if you have to speak. It's absolutely true. And you know, when he started to speak about this kid, he was talking about from Bed-Stuy. He said, he can't be talking about me, but he was. And I thank you for that, Rabbi. And as usual, his brilliant mind has the facts straight and on point. And he has been that way for us for the last 55 years. I have remarks, but I'm deviating from remarks. Because we have been honored to have such a person like Rabbi Cass, who, because he was carrying a gym bag when he had just finished the interview, I believe, and one of the reasons, at least by the story I was told directly by Rabbi Cass on one occasion, he said when it really wasn't his desire to become a chaplain, but he did interview for it because it was available. The timing seemed right, but he didn't believe he would get it. And lo and behold, he was able to get it, he believed, because after the interview, and he's walking out with his gym bag, and a chief.
Chief Seidman.
Chief Harold Seidman, who who became chief of detectives, asked him a question. What did he ask you?
Yeah, what are you doing with that?
What are you doing with that bag? I think he thought he was ripping somebody off. No, I don't think so. Yeah, he said, what are you doing with that bag? And you said,
Going to play a game of handball.
going to play a game of handball. And Chief Stevens said, you're the man for the job. And so you never know what's going to attract the interviewee to the interviewer. And the rabbi, we've been blessed having him on board. And I've known him for many of those, close to 50 of the 55 years. I was a baby then, but we did know each other back then. And I'm real privileged to have had that opportunity. And you know, I had what I just said to you in my remarks, and wanting to congratulate the rabbi, but also to pay special tribute to the men and women of the NYPD. I love this agency for a lot of reasons, but mostly because of you, because of the people in the agency. 55,000 strong, you do miraculous things. And I say that because you do it every day. And you don't get the credit for it, and you should. On occasion, there'll be a story in the press, and it'll cite some good deed. But the truth is, and irony of it is, I believe, is that you don't go to work, you don't come to work every day seeking credit. You come to work because you love to do what you do. And if you are doing this job, that's the way it is. It just is. And you do it, and that's in my mind, it's always the way it's been, even when things are going terribly wrong, and they have been profoundly challenging in the last couple of years, in particular. I mean, I've seen things in these last couple of years that I couldn't even imagine, and I've seen a lot in 50 years of my time in the job, but not as many. And as challenging as those which we all experience. And yet we still are here. The 7,000 of us who were out sick at April 19th of last year came back to work. So you should just know that the gifts that Rabbi and Monsignor give us in their support and their counsel, I think help us, get out of bed in the morning, put our feet on the floor, and come and do the job. So, I want to thank them both and all of our chaplains for lifting us up when we could be really down on our faith and sometimes even on our luck, right? So, but anyway, we should get about the business of why we're here and shed a little light and a little love by turning on Menorah.
Let's chant the blessings together. Then we're going to ask Commissioner Tucker to light the first light, and then we're